Good morning, and how are we today? We are live, everybody. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Good morning, Miss Amy. Strike first, how are you this morning? How is everybody? Good to see you here. Thanks for being here, and welcome back to Dago's Cafe. I hope you got your coffee. Have a seat. Let's talk. So, what is new with everybody today? Yeah, she beat you just this one time straight. No worries. No worries. You're still number one. Miss Amy, you guys are all number one in my book. Anybody that comes in here is number one to me. So good morning. And give me a moment, everybody, to share this out and we'll get started. Give it a little time for everybody to pop in here. I got a couple of things to go over in regards to the Summer Wells case, of course. I'm sorry, Miss Amy. Our weather's always awful here, so it's actually pretty out right now. It's cold, but it's pretty. It is 9 a.m. 9:01 actually, but the sun's out. It looks pretty outside, but it's cold, and we're supposed to get more of this damn white shit that I don't like to talk about here pretty soon. So, are you okay? You okay? Strike first. I have asthma. I know what that's like. It's not fun. So take your time, do your thing, just relax. No hurries. Like I said, let's give everybody some time to get in here that's coming in here. Let me share this out real quick. See what we got going on for today. One moment, please. And I do want to say, okay, good to know. Strike first. Thank you for the positive message this morning, Amy. It's always nice to start off the day on a positive note for sure. Just makes the day go better, in my opinion, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm going to share this out. If anybody else would like to share it, I'd appreciate that. If not, no worries. I know I can. Strike always does that, every time, no matter whether I ask or not. So thank you so much. And you know what, Miss Amy, that's absolutely correct. It is number one. It is what matters. It's what we live for. This is just a little something extra to keep me busy throughout the day. So real life is number one. Never forget that. Anybody that's on here, please never forget that because it is definitely not worth it. Excuse me. Well, that's shared out. Like I said, we'll give you just a little bit of time here to get some more folks in here before I decide to go into anything. That way nobody misses it. It is early, so gotta give some people some time to get up and get moving and get the coffee going. Yep, that's the only way you can be, especially with something like that. Anything that slows you down, you can't let it slow you down too much. I wasn't born with mine. I had athletic asthma when I was younger. But good morning, Elizabeth, and welcome. um, but again, you can't let it get you down. If you do, you'll never come back from it. So you got to stay positive. Welcome, Elizabeth. As I said, what was the outcome of the panel? Which wine, hon? There was a couple. If you're talking about the one from the other night with Isaac and Mike, it was just a big. We all just ran in circles for a good couple hours. That's all it was. No matter what was said, they still try to say what they say, and I just said, it's what it is. No worries. It was nothing any different than it ever is. Yeah, right. They just kept coming back at me, telling me that I support a rapist. You know how that goes, and I kept saying, "No, I'm not supporting that at all because I don't support that. We all know that. Anybody that knows me through here, I was trying to support a guy that had a rough time in his life and is trying to make himself somebody and build something out of his life and be a better person. And I will never not support anybody that's not trying to be a better person. That doesn't make any sense. So that's where that went. No more, no less. It was kind of rough, getting thrown up in there in a pit with the two of them. And it's what it is. That's what they do. That's how they treat people. That's how they get away with what they do. It's just what it is. No worries. So, oh, I'm sure they did because Mike doesn't want anybody to see who he really is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Michael Green does not want everybody. He's got a reputation to uphold. He's Mr. Nice Guy. He loves his fans and he loves his people, and that that would put a damper on that if anybody saw how he talks to people. I mean, you guys saw and heard what he said to me. My son would be better if I was dead, and I don't I can't do for my son what he needs because he's autistic or whatnot, so on and so forth. They don't know my situation. My son has a great life. Me and my son are very close. Hey, Pam, good morning. Thanks for being here. And, I have no worries with that. None at all. So that's what people do to other people when they have no, how can I say, let me say it like the right way so it sounds right. And I don't know how to put this, but other people, well, we know this. People talk down to other people when they don't have the confidence in themselves as a person, if that makes sense to you guys. And this is what those two do all the time to people. One of them thinks he's a superstar now, and then he's got people hanging off of his belt wherever he goes, and he can get away with whatever he wants. Well, that right there, that night was those are Michael Green's true colors. That's the person he is, the way he believes and thinks. He doesn't care about his fans. Um, he doesn't care about the people that support him and have supported him for all these years. It's all about what can be done for him and what gets him ahead in life and what matters to him. So he's a selfish person. He's very self-centered. It blows my mind, because let's not forget where he came from. He forgot his roots. Obviously, he brags about having $5 million in the bank, and he don't need this, and he don't need that, and he don't need people. Well, guess what? These people are the people that got that $5 million in the bank. Not to mention your dad. Rest in peace, ATP. But um, it's just a shame of what he's turned into. So yeah, it's been downloaded. There's multiple people in my community that downloaded it and have a hold of it. So no worries. No worries. So, but all that aside, we'll move. We're moving on to something different for the morning time. Um, like I said, once I get some more peeps in here, we're rolling on it. I absolutely agree, Strike. We know that. We absolutely know that. And that's partly why I think he is the way he is, because he's ashamed of himself. And he knows that his dad would not be proud of who he is now. So be it. As I always say, so be it. It is what it is. My two famous paraphrases. Mm-hmm. That is true, Elizabeth. Again, we all know that. That's true. Excuse me one moment, everybody. Lord, I hate telemarketers. We got 7 peeps in here. We got one, two. If anybody's in here, drop a comment in the comment bar. Let me see who's here, who's not. Then I can get started. That's what I was going about today. I'm still following. We've come to the conclusion of what my theory and my opinion about this case was, and everybody else has posted their opinions and whatnot. There's some new things that are out, of course, that I'm going to try to share with everybody today that goes along with that stuff. So we will move forward with that here shortly. Well, of course, Miss Amy, he learned it from their learned mistakes, learned behaviors that you see as a child. Just like you try to be the best role model for your children that you can when they're at the young ages that's most impressionable. And Charlie grew up watching and seeing his father do the things that he did, which is where he learned it from. Again, learned behaviors. That's general psychology 101. Charlie didn't walk around and say, I'm going to be an alcoholic or a drug addict or do this. I'm going to take drugs and drink all the time when he was 5, 6, 7 years old. That wasn't his choice. He saw it. And seeing that with the people that you look up to makes it okay to you as a child. Well, dad did it. Why can't I do it? Of course. Learn behaviors. We are formed, um, and I'm no Dr. Phil, guys. Don't take this for what it sounds like, maybe, but we are molded from who we come from, and we don't have a choice. If I grow up in a home, from the age of, we'll just say I'm from 3 to 10 years old, everything I see is what I learn. You know, Children that are that age, their mind is a sponge. They absorb everything they see and do because that's when they're the freshest at those ages. They haven't been. That's the word I'm trying to think of. They have not been ruined per se yet. So as you look, that's why when we have kids and I mean, we all know this. You try not to swear around your children. You try not to do things that they would see you do that is a bad influence because we know they're going to hang on to it. I remember things. I don't have real good short term memory loss, but that's a whole different situation. But I can remember things from when I was 2 years old, believe that or not. I remember standing in my crib in a scenario at one point in time at 2 years old. I found out. I was talking about this to my mother one time. I said, I have a memory, Mom. I said, I remember standing in my crib, jumping up and down. I remember hearing this specific song playing. I remember the sun shining through the windows, the warmth of the sun hitting me in the face, and the shadows on the walls and this and that. And she goes, "Well, you were 2 years old. How do you remember that?" I just do. I don't know, but that tells you we remember more than what people think we do. So unless you've had a traumatic experience or some form of PTSD to block that out or something like that, you're gonna have that memory. everybody's different. So, now if you ask me what happened 10 minutes ago or yesterday, I'm going to have a problem with it. I had brain surgery in 2000 due to, I don't know if I've explained it before, but something that I was born with called an AVM on the brain. They removed it, and one of the side effects they said would be short-term memory loss. Well, as I get older, it gets worse. That goes without saying with anything. So, but yeah, we remember what what we see as a child, and it makes it's embedded in our minds. So our parents, we as parents are teachers, and I've always said, and I'll go with this for the rest of my life, and I say it to everybody. I've said it to my own children who have children now. Kids don't come with instructions. They don't give you a little booklet that says step one, step two, step three. You do what you know. You take from what you've learned that your parents taught you and the things that you've seen your parents do, and you do that for your children. So therefore, you try to do the best you can. We try not to make the mistakes that our parents made, and just do better for our children because that's what we want for them. Unfortunately, some parents don't do that. Some parents don't care. Some parents don't know because of what they learned as children. There's a lot of that I've seen. I've always wanted more for my children than what I had. I didn't want my children to suffer, to struggle, any of the things, to have to go do what I used to do for a living and to put themselves in danger to do that. I want, go to college, get a great education, that way you can sit back and earn the money that you need to survive and be comfortable with it and move on through your life easily rather than suffer and struggle through life the whole time. So, if you grow up living in squalor and poverty, not having anything, worrying about not knowing if you're going to eat dinner that night or if you're going to have to share your meal for 3 days with your siblings, or watch your mom and dad scream and yell every moment of the day. Some families that some kids worry that they come home from school every day. Well, is mom going to be up and moving, or is she going to be passed out on the couch because what she did during the day, or all of these things? You guys know what I'm saying. So again, the mistakes that Charlie made, he learned from, obviously, and he was smart enough and cared enough about himself to change that. He saw at one point, this is not good. This is not who I want to be. This is not where I want to go with my life. Look at dad. You know, it, you know, nothing against the decisions that AGP made because God knows he did probably the best he could for his family. But they had how many of them living in a small trailer in a trailer park? Not knowing where their next meal's coming from. Sometimes not knowing if they would have heat, not knowing where they're gonna get their next meal from. Like I said, so on and so forth. And he did jobs here and there, working at flea markets, doing this to make ends meet, to make things happen for his family. And in the midst of all that, that causes stress. And some people go to certain things for stress relievers when they can't handle certain things that are going on in life. I get it. I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. So I'm guilty. When I used to drink, I was guilty of having a bad week at work. Come Friday night, I'm hammering, the Crown Royal to just forget about that week. And that's what we as people do sometimes. Well, sometimes when your whole life is like that, not just a week or a day or a month or a year, you got people that have lived 20 years of their life that's and struggling and suffering through that. You turn to that more often to erase what you've had to live through. So, Charlie didn't have the greatest childhood, you know. So, at one point in time in his life, he picked up, some kind of liquid eraser, I call it, drank this so that I don't have to remember that. I don't want to remember these things. I don't want to remember those things. I don't want to think about what I had to go through for this or what I had to go through for that. Not everybody's childhood was all uh, candy and roses, unfortunately. So there it is. So I don't know, guys. unfortunately, that's the way life is nowadays, and it has been for a long time with people. But you make those choices. You make the decision to follow what path you do. There's things that my mom did and my father did in their lives that I definitely decided not to. My biological father, who passed when I was 9, that I had no relationship with. Okay, I think I remember seeing him 3 times in my entire life because he didn't really bother with me. But my mother met a man when I was 5 years old that she married and brought into me and my sister's lives. That's who I call dad. That's my father. He's been in my life since I was 5 years old. I'm 47 now, so that'll tell you. And for me to look at him and say that's my father, that'll tell you the kind of person he is. He sacrificed. I'll put it this way. My mother had me with my father. My sister has a different father than I do. Those two relationships didn't work out. My sister's father was extremely physically abusive. I would lay in bed every night, 5, 6 years, or I'm sorry, 4 to 5 years old, listening to this man beat my mother off the floor. My mother begged, please don't, please stop, no more, please. Well, for a 3 or 4 year old child to hear that and remember those things for the rest of your life, this is why I don't believe in men putting their hands on women, and it highly infuriates me because it's one of those things. Okay, but so my mother made some bad decisions between my father and my sister, but me and my sister are here. She has us as children now, and she would never change that. So she went through some things to to have us, and she says that, I've sacrificed this, that, and everything else, but I would never take it back because if not, I wouldn't have you to. I love my mother for that. Okay, and it hurts my heart that my mother had to and go through and endure the things that she did to be where she is in her life right now. My mother's 69 years old. Okay, so as of yesterday, actually. So happy birthday, mom. My mother is a very strong-willed woman, a very um, just a strong woman all the way around. She's a nurse. She has been her entire life, and she's always made sure, even to this day, that my sister and I are okay. We have our own lives. We've always supported ourselves and our families on our own, but she's still there at the drop of a dime if I need my mother. And my mother, like I said, didn't always make the greatest choices in her life. My mother drank sometimes when she was younger. I've seen her do it, and she regrets that. She doesn't drink now, but she's always said, "I wish I wouldn't have done this. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I'd done this better for you. And I wish I'd have done that better for you, and this and that." But you know what? I've looked at her and said it. Mom, it's not your fault. You did the very best you could when you at that point in time in your life, and I love you for that. Because I feel that I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for those things. And again, I made decisions in my life that are not the greatest decisions, and learned from them. And that's what we do. We learn from life, you know. And it's a constant thing. From the moment that you're born, you open your eyes, you take your first breath, you start learning and growing. Okay, as you go, and it never stops until the day you take your last breath. In my opinion, you learn from the day one to day whatever it is to the last day. This is a learning process through our entire lives, and it's the only way to put it, in my opinion. And I agree with you, Pam. I'm so proud of Charlie for changing his life too. That's why I support him the way I do, regardless of the mistakes he's made in his life. And I've said it, and I'll say it 100,000 times more. I don't condone the mistakes he made. I don't support the mistakes he's made. I support him and who he is now. And I support the fact that he wants to learn from the mistakes that he made, and that he wants to move on in his life to be a better person. That's what I support. I definitely, nobody does. I don't support the negative things that he's done, the things that he's, said that are negative, bad things, period. So, um, So yeah, I am proud of him. I support him, and I will continue to do it. Until he stops doing positive things for himself. And even at that point, I'm still going to support him. I'm going to be one of those people that'll be there to help pick him up and go, "Hey, dude, okay, it happened. Moving on. We're going to go forward with this now. We don't do that. And I'll be there." Which is, I have my own support system. He has his own support system, and that's the way we we take care of each other as a people, and that's what humanity is all about, in my opinion. I'm sorry, if I'm sounding like I said, Dago the philosopher, I'm not trying to be. I'm just expressing what I feel. And that's awesome, Amy. She said I was very lucky. Had a fantastic childhood. In fact, when I become a mom, sorry, I looked at my childhood and how my parents did things, and I followed that exactly. And that's what we do. You pick the things out of your childhood that are the good things, and the things that that made you the person you are, in the positive side of things, and you take those things and you put them into your life, and that's what I've done. Of course, you pick out, you weed out the negative things and say, you know what, I'm not going to do that, or you know what, I'm not going to be in this, put myself in this situation. I'm going to do better. And it doesn't mean that you're downing your parents for doing certain things. That means, and that's what your parents want. That they want you to do better than them. That's what we're here for. So be it. We have 11 people in here, and this is probably, I guess this is what I got. So I guess we'll move into what we were going to do for today. If that's okay with everybody, you guys let me know. If you're ready for me to get started, let me know. If not, you want me to hang on and talk a little bit more stuff and ramble some more, you tell me. It's up to you guys. I know. I do have to say that if anybody was looking for me yesterday, I apologize. I wasn't here yesterday. My wife had a day off. We had a lot of stuff we had to get done, so I just didn't do it yesterday. But I'm here today. We will go from there. I got Elizabeth, Amy, Pam, and there's a few others in here that are not showing themselves, and that's quite all right. Quite all right. So, are we ready to get started? Strike first wasn't here. I don't know where still here or not. Yeah, I see. Okay. You know what? I just saw that comment, Amy, and that's a good point. That's a huge point. Um, just in case the other didn't see that, is that Charlie made the same mistakes in life that AGP did, and nobody talks about that. And it was okay for AGP to turn his life around, but not Charlie, and it's not. That's not fair. AGP was an alcoholic. He was overweight, um, so on and so forth, and he um, he turned all that around. Charlie can't do that, and they condemn Charlie for doing that, and that's what I don't agree with. Where are we at here? All right, let's jump back down. There's a comment. Listen to our live stream last night, and you can take work and funny about what Utah 750 talks like. And you know what, Witcher? I do not get a retirement check. I will tell this story. It's a weird story. A lot of people may not understand it. Um, I'll explain this to you guys because I care about you guys. For him, I don't need to explain it. It's not his business. But the way this situation works in the area that I live in, we have full time, part time, and volunteer firefighters. Okay. And what that means is volunteer. I mean, you guys know what volunteering means, obviously. You do it for free. You're not on a payroll. You go to help be a fire service worker, a firefighter, whatever you would like to call it in your area, as a volunteer situation, because a lot of people don't have enough people to work in that scenario. The place that I worked at that point in time, they had volunteer, paid full time, and paid part time. So in that department, everybody that belongs to that department is everything. Okay, so if you clock in there on a Monday working your schedule, that's your job. Now, when you belong to that department, when you clock in Monday, you work your 24-hour shift, you do your thing, you go home, you clock out Tuesday, you're off that day per se. Well, if a full blown structure fire were to break out in a large area at point in time, they need as many people to work that situation as they can get. So you're automatically listed as a volunteer. When you're working as a volunteer, you're not on payroll. You're not under insurance. You're not under any of that. You are, how can I say it? Yeah, you're on your own first of all, but you know that's how that works. So when I got hurt, I was called out at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning for the situation, off duty as a volunteer. They tone you out. We had to carry like a pager around. When that drops, there's certain tones that are just sounds that they drop, and each fire service department or each fire department has their own tones that they drop for their people to know. And then the pager will beep, and that means that you respond to the station to respond to the situation, so on and so forth. Well, I was not on the clock that day and went in on a call for a fire, did this, did that, and then when I got hurt, I was not working. I was not on the clock. I was not under their insurance, their this, their that. So I hurt myself per se, and because of it, you can't claim like a workers' compensation. You can't be covered under their insurance. You can't this and everything else. So there is no retirement check or nothing like that. I couldn't retire like most people retire from a job, as in to get a pension, to do this, to do that. I had to forcefully stop doing what I was doing because I can't do it anymore because I'm injured. It's just something I physically can't do. So that is why. I mean, they did do a lot for me for about a year. I was receiving money from them because of the situation to help my family, so on and so forth. So I'll give them that much. They did help me a lot as a volunteer. They had a fund set up for people that have went through that kind of stuff. So I lost out on that end of it. So be it. It is what it is. But okay, well then you understand that. So that's why there is no steady income because of the situation. There's no pension. There's no this. There's no that. But I don't regret any of it. I'll say this much. Now, if I would have been clocked in working, completely different situation. But I wasn't. So it is what it is. But I understand what you're saying, Witcher. Um, and I understand completely what you're saying about that too. And it is. I mean, let him do what he does. I care, but I don't care. If this is what makes him happy, so be it. Let him do it. But I know what you're saying. I absolutely agree. So, well, moving on. So I've been, as I said, we've been talking about the. Let me see. Sorry. Keep popping up. Everything. Quit. 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 Things keep popping up over the comments, and I can't read them. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, you still contribute community price of 750 cents money because I agree with you on that one. Which are another thing, Dable will never apologize or feel guilty for asking for donations. I hope you put super chats up in here. But listen, hon, I wish I could put super chats up, but I'm not monetized yet. I have to have a certain amount of subscribers and whatnot. So I can't be monetized, and that is the only reason why I have the ticker running at the bottom for my Cash App, my PayPal, and my Venmo. And again, just to reiterate that to anybody that doesn't know, I'm not asking you guys and begging you guys. It's embarrassing to even put that up there, but I need a new computer setup because I want to continue doing this, and I just cannot afford it because I'm not working. I'm in the middle of a disability claim. My wife is pulling the full deal by herself with her income, and I love her to death for that. So I cannot ask her, can I have some money, hun, whatever extra money we have to go buy this thing for my computer so I can sit on YouTube and do this. That doesn't make sense. So I would never do that. So that's why I put the donations up there and ask for donations to go towards a fund to help me put this computer together so I can continue. And honestly, once the computer's put together, and I finally get everything I need for it and set up, that's going to come off of there because I don't like doing that. A couple friends I had on YouTube recommended me doing that. And again, said the same thing. Don't be ashamed. It's just the way I am, though. I can't not feel that way. So, and I absolutely, more than I can explain, appreciate anybody that has donated and will donate it to it because it is. I really enjoy this. I really enjoy you guys. I really love spending the time with you guys that I do. And I like trying to help people in any way I can. So this is the way I can do it as of now. Okay. So, like I said, if and when I can get enough together to put this computer together, I do have some pieces of it. I have two monitors, and I have the mouse and the keyboard and all that fun crap. And I have a tower. I just need to get the pieces and parts together for it, which I did not realize how expensive the computer stuff is nowadays until I got into it. It's pricey, guys. It's very pricey. So luckily, I pray every day that this laptop turns on and it works. It's so crappy though, and I feel like that. I feel bad because you guys get the worst possible stream that you could get from me. It's got to suck, and I know it does. And I want to give you guys better than that. I want the camera that works. That way you guys can see my ugly face. Like I said, with my better speakers, the microphone, I have all that stuff. I can't do it until I get this damn computer put together and I get all these pieces and parts for it. So until then, that's going to run. And I hope and pray that people want to donate to it to get it going. And if they don't, it's never been any hard feelings. I don't like to talk about it because it's embarrassing. I don't like to bring it up because it sounds like I'm begging. I just hate it altogether, but I'm doing what I got to do for right now. I appreciate you guys understanding and seeing that, so it is what it is. What's that there, Miss Amy? You're all lucky I don't have a channel I upload to. I'll be looking at it like a job and my catch up. Be everywhere. A job is a job. I gotcha. Gotcha. Very much so. So, yeah, hopefully one of these days I'll get enough together to where I can do it. I thought I could pull it off I'm so naive and idiotic at points, and I don't have computer knowledge like most people would think you would doing this. I don't. I'm learning as I go. And I used to be able to put pieces of computers together, and it was no big deal, like nothing, and it wasn't expensive. But things have changed so much now with these computers, guys. I have the tower. I found out that my processor in the tower is nothing. It's a joke. So I'm trying to change that out, and then the RAM, I need that. I need a hard drive for it, this and that. So this is where the money's coming in. You got a hard drive that's going to hold enough stuff to do this. That's $100 or more. The RAM is $100 or more. The processors are ridiculously expensive to get anything, and to have something decent, more than what I already have, it's quite a couple few $100. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's taken so long. Eventually, I promise you guys, though, I will have it. I will have video going. I will have sound going. I will have, where I can just throw things on the screen, do this and do that, and it will be well worth your time coming in here. I promise you that. I'll give you the best experience I absolutely positively can. It's just taking time to get, the equipment together to do that. So moving on. That's another thing. Wow. If you guys were in Charlie's stream last night at all, I was so excited for him. I mean, and he deserved every bit of that, but he made some decent money in his super chats last night. There was a gentleman that was dropping $100 and $200 at a time. Me, even in my situation, I didn't have a lot, but I wanted to help and show the support, and I dropped $10 in there. He did good. I was very proud and happy for him. I think he deserved every cent of what he made last night. And that's the awesome thing about these communities, that shows the support and love that people can give, and that was just awesome. I was so happy and proud of everyone that did that last night for him, because he really does deserve that. He's a hard working person. He works his ass off every single day, goes to work, and still, he struggles, because he has. We all do. So if anybody that sees this or hears this, thank you for doing that for him. As a friend and a supporter of his, I really, really appreciate that, and he deserved it. He really did. Exactly, Miss Amy. He deserves every bit of it. After everything he's gone through over just the past 5 years, he deserves every damn cent of that. 100%. So, if you notice, everybody that is kind of in my community in the evenings, the people that I have on panels a lot, every one of us donated at one point. Some of us not as much, but like I said, we know my situation. That's all I could do last night. Um, Victoria, but his name, his channel name is The Outsiders with a Z, not an S. It's the and then Outsidez, and it's a picture of him. The icon is a picture of him and Erica. I think on one of their hikes or something is what it is. But that's his newest channel that he's using on a regular. All right, Victoria. Excuse me for one. That's it right there. Oh, no problem, Victoria, and thank you, Miss Amy, for putting. I didn't. I could have just typed it, but give me about 30 seconds, guys. I'm going to grab a little bit more coffee, and then we'll get going. And thanks, Strike First. I could have done that too. Not thinking today, guys. Sorry. All right, I'm back. Okay. Not too many people in here today. It must not be what everybody wanted it to be, I guess, but that's okay. You guys are important to me, regardless of how many people are in here. So, and just so everybody knows, I know I'm rambling. I always do. Obviously, I'm not here to make money, because that's not going to happen. I'm not here for clout. I'm not here for any of that, because I'm not trying to be Michael Green. I'm not trying to be anybody important. I enjoy being on here. I enjoy talking with people and doing stuff like this. And I've always been the person that tries to help people. And this is the way I can see to do it, as I've said. And so that's why I'm here, not for any of those other reasons, just so everybody knows. And it never will be. Um, so, but anyway, moving on. Um, Back to the Summer Wells situation. I don't know if everybody in here has been following it. Hey, Debs, how are you this morning, hon? Thanks so much for being here. I don't know, like, if, anybody that hasn't been here with me with the last few that I've done on this follows the case or has been following the case. Just to catch anybody up, Summer Wells is a now 6-year-old little girl that went missing at 5 years old on June 15th of this past year, supposedly from her home. Beautiful little girl. Her mother and father are Candace and Don Wells. She also had three other siblings that lived in the home with her, her brothers. Their ages I'm not 100% sure of, but they all lived in Tennessee on Ben Hill Road. They lived up on top of a mountain in a home that Don Wells, her father's father, owned at one point. They lived in. And the whole scenario for the day that she went missing, real quick, was they left, and also I'm sorry, the grandmother of Summer lived on the property approximately 12 to 15 feet from the home in a trailer on the property, also. So um, on the day of June 15th in the morning, Candace Wells, Summer's mother, Grandis, which was, or they call her Grandis, but her name is Candace as well. Her last name is Harrer. That is Candace's mother and Summer's grandmother. They all decided that they need to go to the emergency room. Candace, Grandis, and Summer to drop off Grandma to have her knee examined because she's having issues with it. They then, at one point, dropped her off, went to friends of the family's home in the local area. Um, Allison, her son Hunter, and their great grandmother, Hunter's great grandmother, or Allison's grandmother, I don't remember her name per se, and a few other people stay in their home there. They stopped there to visit, to kill some time while they were waiting for the grandmother to get done at the hospital. This is what the story was. Whether how true it is, I don't know. Just catching anybody up that doesn't know this whole story. And meanwhile, they stopped. They were talking to this 15-year-old boy, Hunter, invited him to go swimming at a local horse pond, they call it, with Summer and her. And now there's two different versions of this story. One is that they stopped and they picked up the grandmother from the hospital because she was done. The other is that they went to the swimming hole to go swimming while the grandmother was at the hospital waiting for her to call. Okay. Meanwhile, the little girl goes swimming. She goes up and down in the water a couple of times under the water. The 15-year-old boy, meanwhile, is hanging out with this 30 some odd year old woman, I believe she is. Um, and they're drinking and smoking marijuana, whatnot, while the little girl's swimming. The boy says he took his shirt off, jumped in to try to save her, but she did swallow some water. Then they head home. They leave that area. They drop the boy off back at home. They do make a couple stops at grocery stores and THC shops or smoke shops, whatever you would call it, to pick up some vapes and stuff like that in there. The storyline, I may have it backed up a little bit, but you guys know the basics of it. And then they drop him off. Like I said, they head back towards the home. Some things transpire. According to the mother, she goes next door to help the grandmother real quick with something. The grandmother said she laid down. She goes back to the house after sending her daughter inside, and the daughter's missing. The timeline is really messed up and changes all the time with that period of time. Um, at which point the neighbor says she hears a scream sometime in that time, and then I think it was between 6 or 7 p.m., 6:30 it might be, Tennessee time. They call the police, report the child missing, and they swear to this day that the child was abducted from their home. Okay. Now at that point, you guys know the rest, and we've been going round and round about this scenario, and I gave you my theory, my opinion on the situation. Miss Amy has come up on panel multiple times, or well, at least for that. And by the way, anybody that wants to jump up here today, you're more than welcome at any time. I'll put the link in the chat. You guys are more than welcome to come up here and talk with me as well. I do that with everybody. So just let me know. You'll get the link and you can come on up and discuss it right with me. It's always fun to have a partner up here. So, um, like I said, I've given my theory, my opinion as to what it is. I gave, and this is for anybody that wasn't here, but I gave the two theories. One, that I believe that the child passed away in the vehicle of dry drowning, um, or the other theory that I added to that shortly after that, based on some other info I had found out, was that she overheated because she fell asleep in the truck, and the mother, because she had been smoking whatever she was and drinking stuff, or even just because she just forgot. And I'll give you another reason why that's possible when I play this thing I'm going to show you today. Maybe possibly passed away from being overheated and being left in the truck sleeping for a few hours, wearing a long sleeve jacket and sweatpants in Tennessee in the middle of June. So, was there anything anybody, before I go into what I'm going to do, wanted to add into this story from here, or any theories or opinions that you had that you wanted to talk about real quick about the situation? Thank God, Friday, that's true. Miss Amy asked, why do all the 911 calls get released about other cases, but then because I think that they're holding on to this until that's been asked before, and I think um, I'm gonna have to look. There was there's been a few 911 calls since the situation started. The initial one, I believe, yeah, it was not. I wondered that once at one point because they do for any case that goes on, the 911 calls are definitely released, but this one they just didn't do it, and I don't know. I don't know if it's because again they're hanging on to it for. Good morning, Happy. Thanks so much for being here. Um, but I think it might be because they're a lot of like law enforcement agencies when they're working on a case, they don't release certain pieces of information due to it. And, it could cause some issues with the investigation. Maybe that's why, but it's definitely a questionable scenario. Why? I'd like to hear it myself. I'd like to hear it. I'd like to see the exact timeline for how things transponded and so on and so forth. So, well, here's the thing, Pam. Okay, I don't think that's the biggest thing right there in the whole thing. We don't know what the situation was. Okay, the true situation because it's never been told. We've had accounts of it based on what Candace and Dawn have said, but who are we to know that that's what the truth is? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Us as parents, if we thought something was wrong with our child, would have called an ambulance or rushed to the closest medical facility that we could. But that is not what happened. It's obvious that something happened. They're covering it. This is my thought, at least. My theory. That something happened and they're covering it up to protect themselves. Because the day going back, if nobody knew this, going back to the day that she disappeared, June 15th, 2021, June 16th, there was an appointment set for a CPS, Child Protective Services worker, to come out to the home, which is why she didn't have her boys with her, that day when she went swimming, because she had her boys at home cleaning up the house to keep everything together. Right, Happy? That's what I'm saying right now. So something's not right. because they have CPS coming before this even happened. Okay, and the boys were taken from the home the day after, or the 2 days after this whole scenario went down. Anyway, so there was something else going on beforehand. Okay, that's one thing. There's been accusations of SA situations with the father and other people. There's been accusations and rumors of child sex trafficking. There's just so many little things that are hanging and dangling off of this case that it's hard to wrap it all in one and go with it, because you can't say, well, this is that and that's that, but this is wrong and that's not. You know what I mean? Which is why this case has kind of mesmerized me from the beginning, because it's so crazy and there's just so much with it, and to see the parents, how they are and so on and so forth. But that's an understatement, straight first. He says, I think Summer's parents are bad parents. Again, the understatement of the year. Yeah, right, Happy. And that's what I said. Her biological children are at home cleaning her house, but she stops and picks up this 15-year-old kid who I still think there may have been something between her and him going on. Because, guys, remember I said that I believe that Candace's mentality is that of a 15-year-old boy, based on the way she acts and talks and dresses and thinks and just presents herself. I think she related to this H kid that was 15 years old, because to her he was the friend, not the child's mother. She's buying him twisted teas to drink and buying the THC or weed vapes or whatever that they're smoking on, which obviously impairs your ability to pay attention to your children. Which goes back to part of one of my theories that she wasn't paying attention. She's over here maybe diddling around with this kid in the woods, and wasn't paying attention to Summer, and some things happened. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta check something real fast. All right, sorry about that. Yes, Amy, it definitely is. I forget sometimes where you're from, ma'am. Yeah, Pam, that's what pretty much the scenario that I've gathered too. But so everybody that was here with me before, I've been playing some audio stuff for you, and we've talked about some other scenarios, so on and so forth. So I have something today. Candace has been doing her own live streaming, um, by herself and sometimes with friends, and it's not been good. Okay, again, going back before, guys, she doesn't seem like she's got, her mentality to me is like that of a 15-year-old kid. She's not very smart, um, and was abused obviously by multiple people in her life. Probably didn't have the greatest childhood, so her mental being and emotional being aren't that the greatest. They're known for excessive alcohol and drug use before, during, and now currently with this. Okay, so she did a live stream last night. She's just, if you guys, I wish I could show it to you guys, and you guys could probably look it up on your own. But a lot of times she pulls it down. I try to get them as fast as I can, but again, she pops on her live stream with the backwards hat on, just looking the way she does, and she You guys, if I can explain it to you, is definitely on something. Okay, she can't talk very well to begin with. It always sounds like she's got something in her mouth, but when she's drunk or she's taking whatever drugs she's taking, it's like 300 times worse. And this live stream was horrible last night. First of all, um, the stream itself, the quality of it is just shows so shitty. But she was either drinking or she had taken something before she did this, but she is a damn mess. Her eyes are just, not even completely open, and she's staring like she's got this blank stare on her face. She's trying to talk. You can't understand her. It's just like, what the hell? And you can blame it on the stress of your child being missing, but she was doing this before Summer went missing, so you know, it's a lifestyle, I guess. So I want you guys to hear this because she says some things. You know, first of all, listen to the way she sounds. You'll be able to tell immediately that she's on something. She says some things that'll catch your attention, and I'll point it out after she says it, and it makes you think about this whole situation when she says this. She's done this quite a few times before, and her husband Don, who is in jail right now currently, due to I think it was DUI and probation violation. So the comments that she makes in here are very disturbing, and I just wanted your guys' opinion on it. I'm gonna go ahead and play it here in a moment, but listen closely because it's hard to hear her clearly. The audio is perfectly clear, but her voice is just so jumbled. It sounds like she's got marbles in her mouth and she's intoxicated or under the influence of something that's pretty strong because she's a mess. Like I said, if you guys can see it, you can see what I'm saying, but you'll be able to hear it in her voice. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up for you guys and get it rolling. So give me a second here. And I would never drink or do anything against him ever again. Okay, hold on a minute because she is talking about her children right here. I think I may have jumped too far ahead, but let's try it. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to pick up a voice from the interview that, or not the interview, but, okay, let me see. Hold on. Hi, to Jonathan. Okay, one second. I can't, uh, trying to get it right at the point she doesn't get anything else, but, them boys in my summer is the love of my life. I would never drink or do anything against them ever again. Okay, breathe. Now, first of all, like I said, she's obviously a mess. I don't know. Could you guys hear that okay? Yeah. Okay. Hey, Flower. Welcome. Like I said, her eyes are just like, it's like she's staring through the screen, and she said, you can hear in her voice. She says, them boys last summer mean everything to me. I will never drink or do anything to them again. What is what does that say? Again? What did you do in the first place? Why are you talking about drinking or whatever you've done? But what does that have to do with them? You know what I'm saying? That's an admission of guilt. I'm sorry. Kentucky girl, welcome. What's going on, hon? Nice to have you here. And good morning, Miss Caitlin. How are you, dear? Thanks for being here again. I mean, that in itself, I'm going to go back and play it for the guys that everybody that just popped in here just a little bit more. It's one simple comment, and it says one comment she makes that says a world of different things to me. And like I said, she's so hard to understand to begin with. But I'm telling you, to look at her, she's trashed on something, whether she's drunk or she's on something. Okay, because it's bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this back again for everybody that just jumped in here, and again for people that may not have heard her because it's so hard to understand her. But give me a moment. My thought would be, oh, again, that's part of the person that was um, pulling it up. Hold on a second. So there we go. I can't. It's gonna probably echo a little bit. I apologize. But here it is. Can you guys hear it? Why is there no sound? I won't drink again. Cause them boys in my summer is the love of my life. I will never drink or do anything against them ever again. I won't drink again. There it is. I won't drink again. I won't drink. Like I said, she's slurring so bad, and she's sitting there kind of like bobbling her head. She looks like she's staring through the computer. It's just like, damn. I won't drink. I won't drink. I won't drink again. Well, she's either drunk there or on some serious heavy shit, which they're not doing this. But what are you talking about with I won't drink or do anything against them again? What did you do to begin with? That's an admission of guilt in my mind, guys. I mean, is it or is it not? Tell me if I'm wrong, please. Tell me if I'm reading too much into it. You tell me what you think of it. Exactly. Exactly. She's done something wrong, but what? We don't know 100% for sure, and that's the problem. So there it is, in my opinion. Again, I won't do anything again. What did you do? I want to know what you did. Whether it's being neglectful to the kids, did you do something to your daughter, whether it be accident or on purpose? What did you do? That's the whole point. That is an admission of guilt, and this is what I'm sure that her husband was scared of when he went to jail. That what was going to happen because she can't be trusted on her own. She drinks or does whatever she does and starts babbling, and this is what happens. What are you going to do? What do you guys think, or do you have an opinion? Also, guys, I'm gonna play another. Like I said, I've been following these her live streams and so on and so forth, trying to catch her saying something in particular, or just listen to what she has to say, how she's acting, and so on and so forth. Oh, absolutely, yes, ma'am. I followed Chris McDonough with a lot of his stuff that he's done in the past, along with this scenario. The whole story that he did, the whole interview that he's done with her and everything, I've been following it. Exactly, Miss Amy. I'm gonna play a bit of an interview, or not an interview, but a live stream she did, and she looks completely different in this one. She's still wearing a hat, but and this one says, "This is for my babies," is the way she titled it, and you can hear a definite difference, even though she still sounds like she has shit in her mouth when she talks. That's just how she talks. But complete difference, and the way she talks, the things she says, I think it shows a little bit for her, possibly her intellect and or her education levels or whatnot. So some of it's pretty. It, it it shows the difference for sure of what she was like last night and this time, and what she probably wasn't doing when she did this next one, and what she was doing last night. Oh, absolutely, Abby. I agree with you 100%. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this real fast here for you guys to hear her here, and you'll see the definite difference. But listen to what she's saying too, though. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now, and I'm not gonna, bullhorn Betty and all the traders that want to be mean to me. That's fine. You guys can do that if you want to. I don't have no problem with that. I mean, I love all my kids. I just them with all my heart and soul, and I know bullhorn Betty is all about. I'm gonna jump here. But I'm going to tell you right now that I only have certain friends with my time. And I thank them for everything they've done for me. And I appreciate all they've done for me. And I love all you fam. Guys, good night. And I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Okay. Now she was still on something, I think, in that video, because you can tell when somebody's either taking pills or smoking weed or whatever, just by the way they talk and their facial features and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But she was a lot more with it than she was last night's live stream. She was not slurring. She wasn't this. I mean, it was just a whole different scenario. But again, still on something. But you know, I don't understand. Again, blame it on the fact that your child's missing. I blame it on guilt, in my opinion. I think that she's doing whatever she's doing to not have to think about what she's done wrong or deal with what she's done wrong. Maybe it makes it go away for a few minutes. Maybe it makes it go away for a few hours. It's not. It's still. It's still going to come back and get you. That's my opinion. No matter what you do. So I think she basically. Every video I've seen her in, she looks like she's just out of it. She's on something. So, that says a lot. And again, they're saying that she did it before this even happened. She was like that, both her and her husband. So that'll tell you right now that people that they are with their kids. But that's obviously more important to what for what they're doing. It's hard. It is very hard, Happy. I know. Like I said, even when she's not as bad, it still sounds like she's a mouthful of marbles. Like her tongue's too big for her mouth or something. It doesn't make sense. It's crazy. I've listened to her mother talk. She can at least form her words, but this is why I believe that she is a little slower, I guess you could say. Good morning, dear. How are you? Hold on, guys. My granddaughter just popped over. Say hi. Say hi, everybody. They probably couldn't hear you. Say hi. Hi. She just woke up. She's here with Papa and Great Grandma today. So give me a second, guys. I'm gonna grab something for her to drink, and I will be right back. Her grandma's coming down to handle her, and I'll finish this out with you guys for today here in a bit. So give me 1 second. They said hi to them. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, guys, so sorry about that. Grandma got her now. That's my over the love of my life, my granddaughter. Love her to death. Yeah, I was surprised with her being dropped off early this morning. I was also sleeping with dad to go to work, so. But anyway, so um, going back to this, I mean, do you guys have an opinion about what she said? I mean, do you agree that it's basically admission of guilt, an admission of guilt on her part? In some senses, I mean, you could say, I guess maybe um, it could be related to anything, but in this sense, with what's going on, I mean, it's a horrible thing to say, in my opinion. All right, Happy. Thanks so much for being here, hon. Good luck with that. Hope you have a great day. I mean, she could have been talking in general for multiple things that went on. Oh, you mean the first audio that I played, or the second one, right? Okay, I will gladly go back and play that again. What she says is, um, "I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm not going to do anything against or my boys, put them first, mind you, and my summer are my life, and I'm not going to do anything against them ever again." But I'm going to play it back a little bit louder for you, baby. Like I said, it's so muffled, it's so horrible. Um, it's just such a damn mess. Let me see here. Like that. I'd like to figure out what the hell she was on too. That's the bad part of it. It doesn't seem like alcohol to me. At one point in time in the live stream, guys, she literally was sitting there staring at the camera, making faces like smiling, then frowning, then smiling, like she was practicing or something. Whether she realized or not she was live or not, I don't know. But it was just like, what the hell are you doing? You know, crazy. Um, Maybe I can find a um, better version of it tonight. Doubt it. No worries, no worries. I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of crappy. I'm just having technical issues. Actually, please, please, please bear with me. I promise you guys, this will get so much better. It really will. Where is? I just had that clip. Where did it go? Where did it go? I had another one I wanted to get to. of an interview that Candace did with Benny Keith in regards to this. But excuse me, I definitely need to pull that one back up. But I just had this clip now. I can't find it. I can't figure out where did it go. It doesn't disappear. Anyway, I think I found it. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's it right there. Give me a second. Oh, oh, I will try to play it louder. Maybe it'll help if it's louder. But I doubt it. It's just so hard to hear. But let me try one more time, guys. All right, here we go. Horrible. Get right to the point where it starts. Here we go. Longer again. Because them boys in my summer is the love of my life. I would never drink or. You guys hear it? Why is there no sound? Try it again. A little bit louder. I won't drink again. Because them boys in my summer is the love of my life. I would never drink or do anything against them ever again. Was that any better? I mean, it almost looked like she was struggling to speak, to get the words out of her mouth, too. God, I wish I could play the video so that you could see it out. I will never drink because them boys in the summer is the love of my life. And I will never drink or do anything against them again. Again. I think you've done it before. What have you done? What are you talking about? General. And for a person like her, okay, she's obviously thinking about some specific thing for this to be an important conversation for her to have. In her mind, and that's why I said the other day, this is eating at her, and I think eventually that she's going to pop, guys, and something is going to come out. It really is going to happen. I just see it coming. I know it. Were you able to hear that better, Strike First, or clearer? I tried to clear it up a little bit too. I can only do so much with it though. You still there, Strike First? Okay. Well, much better. Okay, good deal. Good deal. So you see what I'm saying? I mean, what are you talking about that you did? Like I said, to me, it's an admission of guilt. That's my opinion. That's I may be wrong. Honestly, I don't think I am. I really don't. I'm sorry. I just don't think I am. And this other clip I want to pull up too. I think I had it right here, so I think I want to get it in a second here. There's a couple different clips here, and then that interview with Benny. This is why I need better equipment. La la. Let's make a song. So irritating to me that I have to go through all this crap to do this for you guys. It's not fair to you. God, get it right. Get it right. Get it right. Get it right. God, I can't wait. There's so much different about other stuff to do this for too. It's gonna be a lot more fun. There'll be a lot more to it. Well, there's another interview. That's another one I wanted to play for you guys today with the neighbor Jody Sue. Um, basically throwing Don Wells, the father, Summer's father, under the bus. So, in fact, that one's probably a little bit more interesting. That's the one. Give me a second, guys. How does Jody really feel about Don Wells? There it is. This is the interview. And what did she say exactly about Andy? His life? Right. Jody Stu, the neighbor. But let me tell you, that whole Jose truck thing, that you missed because you're fucking lazy and stole your soul system. Whatever else you can't be bothered watching the that whole Jose. Now here's the thing, in this clip of her talking, she's talking to Benny Keys, who is another internet investigative reporter on this scenario. What's that? Okay, just making sure. Let me know if you guys can hear this clearly, but again, she's talking at Benny Keys. A lot of people don't care for him the way he does what he does here. It's kind of, he's a little rough around the edges, but he's still, in the end, his goal is to find Summer to help bring justice. But he supports. Here's the problem with him, though. Well, why most people don't like him is he supports Don and Candace Wells and believes that they're innocent, regardless of what he's been shown. He still stands by them and says that they're innocent. I don't get it, but this is her, Jody Sue Brown, their neighbor, talking at Benny in regards to um, the situation. A black truck, Don thing. Well, also, Baltimore Special Agent thinks that Don killed Jose, and that's his black truck, by the way. And he has for a while. Says, for several women. There's that. So, that monster believes your clients over there are very much capable. He also thinks that Don is a fucking child molester. He thinks that he is absolutely not just raped and molested Summer, but has done so to the boys as well. So everyone thought some stuff before the Utah trip because of things going on over. That's when I started actually looking into Dawn, and obviously throughout the year, Andy was wanting Dawn as well. Now, mind you, Andy, just so you guys know, is Jody Sue, the neighbor. Is Andy's her husband? Okay. So she's talking. What she's saying is about what her husband thinks or feels, as well as what she thinks or feels about this. So responsible for our own people, for my own daughter was the same age as Dawn's sisters.
conveniently enough, and the only little girl inside the hollow that we now think, was actually a target.
Miss Amy, I absolutely. It's funny you said that because I was talking to my wife about this last night a little bit, and that word for word is exactly what I said to her. She was asking about him, and I was explaining him to her, and she said, "What's his deal?" And I said, "Honestly, I think he's got his own personal agenda. I just think that he's almost exactly what you said, trying to get in good with them to um, to get what he wants to get out of this. Not even he doesn't even. I don't think he even cares about helping Summer, but I have to say what he says because that's what he says. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out real quick, and I'll be right. Go ahead.
Myself of Dawn's creepy and peeping behavior. Also, another truck and dogs in that incident. I can prove, by the way, I didn't just recently blood my ass, but even then, I and other neighbors were talking about it and weird shit about the dogs. And the other day, if you're paying attention to any streams, Mary and Michael, that's exactly how Dawn did us when we wake up, was, just sliding into windows and all this, especially as we got older. But, even for Andy being the type of, he is always maintained that Dawn's a fucking monster. But we started getting worried that, like, the older ones were touching each other and inappropriately touching things, and then they turned it on Dawn right there was one of the last DCS cases, and then because the one was angry as fuck at Daddy there. But that wasn't really true because there was a little girl on the hill at the time. And we started thinking the fucking worst after another DCS case was open, and that's when I really started looking into Dawn. That's when I knew Will before he ever came back to Utah. He wasn't sure he was a fucking pedophile. And the chances were one pedophile is, most fucking are. But then there's still no proof Dawn really is. And his sisters come out after Summer's missing, and we know. You know why I was sitting on the bank all the nights, please? You want to know? What, just because of the fucking one monster we thought, because I still thought, man, two things can exist at once. A stranger come in here and took that fucking baby girl. But also, not just that, but here's Dawn living with Feathers is a fucking predator because I never discounted his fucking sisters. So I had to live with some of that shit every day. Where there's some motherfucker trapped inside Ben Hill without any real way to get to his usual crack habit down in Knoxville where his runoffs and all these other things. Well, certain types of monsters that can't get one fix and try to get another. Well, guess who? Little girl's the only one left in there. Mine. So, I mean, he wasn't getting anywhere near mine. If it was the last hurrah, he ended up telling us we didn't get fucking arrested, whatever else. But
And basically, what she just said there, if you guys didn't get that, is Jody Sue has a daughter too. That she's afraid that Dawn's going to kidnap or take her daughter, or assault her daughter in some ways. Um, and that's pretty much what that comment right there meant. If you didn't quite understand it,
there's part where I sat on that bank too, where I walked them, where I sat outside my fucking cabin while I didn't get sleep, and all them predators, they did fine, whatever. Wait until on Henry mentioned Dawn's little footsteps to grab with mine. I was so worried about it, my catalog. But I'll take it. That monster believes your clients there are absolute monsters. However, it didn't keep him from commingling over there. And, but I bet he didn't give you the real reason he was over there, did he? But you don't have real proof of that like I do, you, Keith? Because you were lied to about when the last time he was there was and why.
Hmm. So, if you even understood her, these people, they all talk like they have shit in their mouth. I don't understand it at all. But you're right about that. About being street smart 100%. Again, she was referring to Benny Keys. and it, that's why she was saying your client, because I guess being that he supports them, he kind of is their spokesperson, I guess you could say. Which I've noticed, it doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Um, yeah, she obviously has a piece of information she's not releasing about the real reasons that she's talking about that people are over there and so on and so forth. That I'd like to know. I'd like to understand, and you can't put videos out like that. I'm surprised that TBI hasn't gone at her about that because you can't put videos out like that stating that you know things without telling you what it is. So either they've already gone at her. That was only 8 hours ago that that comment was made. Um, did you guys hear her clearly? Were you able to understand what she was saying through that whole comment or that whole clip? I should say. Okay, we've got a comment on that one. So again, does anybody have anything they'd like to add to any of this, or any thoughts or opinions, or sorry guys, or anything like that at all? There's a couple other pieces of stuff or that I wanted to show. Just one other thing that I had watched last night. This one was kind of telling in a sense, and I thought that it would be interesting for you guys to hear as well. Um, what are you making tonight, Miss Amy? I see you're cutting vegetables again, but what's going along with the vegetables this time? And how were your lamb chops you said you had last night? Mm. This other clip, also, if you guys remember the other day when we had done this, I played this interview for you where the friend of Brandis or Summer's grandmother um, had they were talking and she had let some information go to her friend and one second guys I gotta check this real quick on my phone. Today is so bad. I am so sick of it. But anyway, um, the grandmother had had that conversation with her friend. And I had bits and pieces of clips and stuff that I could find about that, and I found another one last night. And in a sense, Don had told Candace that in this part of it, this is what the grandmother had said though, that her words, Don told Candace he'd done something this summer and that he needs to cover it up. Basically, in not so many words, that's what it says. I want to find the part in it so without all the other blabber and talking and stuff, that you guys can hear this. So give me a quick here. Sorry, guys. Today, please, 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 guys, accept my apology. Today's horrible. I swear this is probably the worst live stream I've done. I've had so many technical issues, so much crap that's not working and doing things right. So please, 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 please accept my apology about today. I promise you that this will not continue to be like this. Hopefully soon. Right. Now, here's this piece of this clip here. Okay. This goes back to what I was saying the other day at that situation when they got home from going swimming.
What on there? It says she called Don. Okay. Oh God. Okay, go ahead. Continue. Focus. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, her daughter called 911 saying his family is missing. Okay, we turn this over. She thinks Don called and what they talked about. Thinks Don called her now and there. She don't know. And she don't know if he called her or what if he did what they talked about. She thinks Don told her to call 911. She thinks Don and her daughter knows what he thinks Don told her what he did. Now they have to do something to cover it up.
Okay. Hey, Broken, what's up? Did you guys hear that? Okay, now mind you, just so you understand this better, this is Brandis's, the grandmother to Summer's friend, telling this story back that the grandmother told her. She just said that Don told her what he did. She thinks that Don told her what they did. Now they have to cover it up. Word for word, that's what was said. That's what I'm saying. This goes back, and I wanted to add this in because I had played this interview for you before, and there were 4 pieces of it that were released finally, and this was it. So again, what you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. So I want to play that back just a little bit more one more time. Like I said, it's hard to. I don't understand the way these people over there talk. That you can't ever understand half of it. But 1 second here. Let's play this piece one more time.
Okay, go ahead. Continue. Focus. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, her daughter called 911 saying his family is missing. Okay, we turn this over. She thinks Don called and what they talked about. Thinks Don called her now and there. She don't know. And she don't know if he called her or what if he did what they talked about. She thinks Don told her to call 911. She thinks Don and her daughter knows what he thinks Don told her what he did. Now they have to do something to cover it up.
There we go. What is he covering up? What did he do? That's what I'm talking about. There's just too many things that point to them and only them being responsible for all of this. In my book, again, that's me, not everybody's opinion. Okay, so there's that part of it. Now, moving on, go back to a little bit more. Let's see if the other things.
So I write down Bobby. What I got wrote down. I don't know if it's true or not. I just know what she's doing. Okay, so Summer, the last she knew, Candace was taking Summer to meet Don. And then Candace comes back. She wakes up to hearing Candace saying Summer's missing. Did Grandis tell you that she's ever confronted Candace? Did she confide at all?
And see, that's a total different story from what everybody was told initially. And at this point, you have to wonder. Hopefully, TBI is looking into all the details and whatnot for what was said. So again, completely different story from what everybody has heard repeatedly.
About discussions that she's had with Candace about what their official narrative would be. No. She didn't confide that in me.
She just said she thought she didn't know what Don knew. So she said she thinks that Don told her what he did. Now they have to do something to cover it up.
She told you that she believed that Don told Candace what he did with Summer.
Yes. And now they had to get their story straight.
Because the fact of the matter is, it's not, we know that this child is missing.
Right.
So if Candace's confession to you, which I believe.
I do too. I really believe it too.
I do.
Really do.
What can you tell me about her demeanor when she was telling you this confession? What can you tell me about her?
It was like she was, well, she was drinking too, but I don't know. She was like crying, upset. She wasn't happy, talking real happy and all this goes around. It was like she was like depressed.
She was drinking. What was she drinking?
I don't know what she was drinking. I think it was moonshine, but I don't really know. I don't really know about alcohol, but I think it was moonshine.
Moonshine.
She said something about she liked moonshine. She really liked it. So
that'll make you tell the truth for nothing.
Okay. Was she crying?
Well, it sounded like she was crying, but I don't know if she's crying or not. I know she sounded really, really down. But,
all right, Kelsey, we're confused. That's what we all want to know. Did Don take her? Obviously not. I mean, if Don took her to the hospital, all right. Did Candace tell her mother? Did Candace explain to you what Candace ever came back and said?
What now?
Did in that confession that Grandis made to you, did you and her touch on what Candace told her? When Candace came back and started saying Summer is missing, realistically, you think that Grandis would go to her and say, hold up.
She said last she had the finger that she gave her to Don.
Candace told Grandis that she handed Summer off to Don.
That makes me think though, like she called Don home from work early, supposed to be bringing the boys home from work. Yeah, they were working with him, but the boys were at home cleaning the house. Remember that? And he left them there alone. Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So
Don's supposed to be taking her to the hospital.
So there you go, Kelsey. There's your answer. Candace told her mother, Candy, and I know this has got to be so confusing to people who
it is.
This is like it's so hard because they're both named Candace, mother and daughter. It's kind of like, remember, meet my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl. I'm Daryl, my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl. We got Candace, my daughter Candace, my other daughter Candace. I'm so shocked.
Okay, move on.
It's confusing, I know, and that's why I sometimes call her Grandis, because it helps me to keep these people separate. Candace came back and told her mother that she handed Summer off to Don.
Don was supposed to take her to the hospital.
Now, see, there it is. That is completely different from what was told to everybody else, and the police, TBI, blah blah, so on and so forth. Was that there was never any talk of Dawn having anything to do with this. Like I had said with my theory, she left, that Dawn did this, did that. Dawn was going to take. Candace told her mother that Dawn was taking Summer to the hospital for what happened, then Summer's just gone. What does that tell? I mean, what does that say? He took her and did something with her, and they both know that. He obviously can handle it better than Candace can because she's constantly breaking down, and he's probably threatened her life that if you talk about this, we're done. We're going to prison, or we're going to get the electric chair, or whatever he has to say to her to keep her quiet. This is all basis comes back to my theory. Exactly, a little different the way they're telling it, but exactly what I've been thinking. So let's see what else he has to say here.
Yeah, and you guys, I need you to hear me on this. This people, I tell you all the time, people are their patterns and people are their historical behavior. So when you want to understand somebody, you look at how they behaved before they were under the microscope, okay? And you look at how they're behaving while under the microscope. What has been Candace's behavior all along? Her behavior all along is to let Don take the lead. Her behavior has been to hand over decisions to Don and to let Don do the talking and to give him control. So this only makes sense that in this sort of a nerve-wracking, and I need y'all to understand too, when this little girl went missing, none of these people could have foreseen, could have had the foresight to see that this case would blow up and become, we all look at it and we all see it for what it is. We see it as a case that has really blown up and gotten on the national scene and whatnot. Okay, but what people need to understand is all of these players involved, Don, Candy, Candace, all of these people, Hunter, they could not have known that would have taken over. They were just thinking in their little pocket corner of their world, their impoverished little world.
I agree. 100%. I agree. I don't know, guys. Crazy. So I don't know. Does anybody? First of all, is anybody here still? Looks like everybody that was here kind of took off. I really do apologize that it's so bad today with everything. This is why I need to get this computer running, guys. I'm having all these difficulties and all this crap that's happening. It's not coming out. I feel like an ass today because of this. So I am sorry. But are you guys still here? If you are, let me know in the chat. I know Amy was getting dinner ready, so I understand that completely. All right, well, guys, I think that's probably going to do it for today on this aspect of it. I wish there was more I could do, but otherwise it's not letting me. So I do want to thank you all for being here. Miss Amy, of course, Strike First, Broken, Raikou, Be Happy, Flower, Caitlin, Deb, all you guys, Pam, thank you so much for coming in. I'm so sorry that this is so graphic. I cannot apologize enough. I did not want it to be like this. But, again, I will get to the point where it will not be like this very soon. And I promise you guys you're going to love it. It's going to be way more. There's a lot of two other cases that I've been followed up with that I'm going to be jumping into too. I spoke with somebody else last night that would, on one of my other streams, that would be interested in maybe jumping on here to do it with me too, and go back and forth with it. So that may be interesting too. Either way, anybody have any questions or any comments before I decided to end for today? Okay, I guess not. Well, um, again, I want to thank you guys so much for being here, for putting up with the shittiness of this stream, the crap that it is, and supporting me and supporting me in the evening. For others of you that are here with that for as well. I love you guys to death. You have no idea. I really appreciate what you guys do. I just appreciate you guys stream. Um, I hope you all have a wonderful day or evening, depending on where you are, if any. Um, not really, Pam. I'm so I don't know the word. I'm disappointed in myself and I'm disappointed in myself. I guess I probably shouldn't do it if I don't have the working equipment to do it the right way. But I just don't want to not do it. You know what I mean? I want to talk about this and I want people to hear these things. I guess maybe I don't know. I want to do it and I don't want to not to leave anybody hanging that was expecting it. By the way, for anybody that was here yesterday or looking for yesterday and I wasn't here, I apologize again because I had some stuff that I had to do and it just took up a lot of the day. So by the time I was done, it didn't work out. So I promise you guys, though, again,